All right. So today we are going to be taking a look at Discover and at Timeline. So we'll be in both resources. We're going to start off in Discover, which is our differentiated resource with content curated for an older audience, but still accessible with a lower reading level. This resource is great for struggling readers like ELL users or adults and high school users who need material at a lower level than what's available in the advanced database. It's also great for enriching and providing more for advanced elementary users. So starting off on Discover's homepage, there is a lot of featured content here to kind of pique people's interest. We have a featured media section with high interest topics to draw people in. So if you see something of interest here, you can click on it to read more or see it in more detail. So here we have an image pull up. Some of this featured content will also be articles. It just depends on what you've clicked on here. So this is the article that I can read more about. I can then click the Discover logo at any time to go back to the home page of Discover. So you don't have to keep clicking the back button. You can just click that logo and go right back to the home page. Each time you come back to the home page, the featured content will switch out. So you'll see a couple new images here to explore. Underneath the featured section, we have our Worldbook Explains. Now, this is a cool feature on Discover with questions that come to us from users and patrons that our experts or editors have answered. So you can see the different types of questions here. You can also click to see more answers and go into the feature to explore all of the questions and answers that are given. A lot of these contain a video answer, and they are just great to reach different learners, different learning styles with a video rather than just reading, and to learn some cool new facts as well. Underneath the Worldbook Explained section on the homepage, you're going to see a Did You Know section. So this Did You Know area just features a cool new fact every day. So tomorrow when you come in here, there will be a different fact. And each one will have a little Learn More button, so you can click to read the article on that topic to learn more about the fact of the day. Underneath that, we have a game. So we've pulled out some interesting games that you can play, and we'll look more about the games or more at the games in a little bit here as we move into that feature. You'll also see popular videos and interesting articles linked. There is a Today in History section as well, which just has a daily fact to share something that happened on this day in the past. So like with the Did You Know, you can click to learn more. There's also some links contained within the fact that you can click on to jump directly to that article. So a couple different ways to explore and get more information on those. Obviously, you can also come into Discover as a way to research and look up information. So we'll go ahead and dive into that before we get into the other features that are available here. So the first way to find content is to browse by topic. So up in the top, you have these pick by topic icons. So you can click into any of these and go into living things. Once you click into one of those original topics, you'll get a list of articles. You can narrow down the search a little further in the upper right by clicking subtopic. For example, I could narrow it down to plants, and I could click in and look at one of the articles. So here is the plant article here in Discover. The other way that you can find information is just to do a direct search. So next to those pick a topic icons, you'll see the search bar. This search bar also contains a little speaker icon, so you can dictate a search, so you can speak it out loud. This is a great tool for accommodating younger users who may not know how to spell something, or those with limitations to typing, just also there for convenience. So I'm going to go ahead and just type my search in, and I'm going to look up computer. The first type of search results that you'll see in Discover are going to be encyclopedia articles. So you can see for computer, we have 306 results found. So you can scroll through to see all of the articles that pull up. You can also change the type of information you're looking at the top. So games from the games feature will also pull up in the search results. Videos, pictures, maps, and tables are some of the other types of content that you'll find in Discover, as well as a section for any Ask Worldbook questions that relate to the search term that you've typed in. So here we've got one about 3D printers. I'm going to go ahead and just click into the first article on the computer so we can take a look at the different tools within. I've clicked into a few articles so far already, so hopefully you've seen that the layout is kind of the same throughout each of those, and we do that on purpose so that users can easily find the tools within each article. So right off the bat here, we have our read aloud capability, so I can click this little ear icon and start read aloud.
A computer is a machine that works with information at great speeds. The information may include.
And underneath the play or pause button, I can change the voice, so I could make it male, change the speed, or adjust the accent that's on it. Articles will also have the double-click dictionary, so I can double-click any word and have that definition pull up for me. If you're familiar with our other Worldbook core databases like Kids, Student, or Discover, Kids, Student, or Advanced, a lot of these tools should look familiar as they are available in those articles as well. In the upper right corner, you have the rest of your tools and settings in this little gear icon menu. So here you can save the articles as a PDF or directly to Google or OneDrive if users utilize either of those. You also have the option to save to a My Research project, which is a digital organization tool, and we will look at this feature in more detail. This menu also allows you to share it via email, print the article, view the citations. Every article in Discover will be cited in MLA, APA, and Harvard format, so you'll always be able to find that information in the Tools and Settings menu. Every article can also be translated into over 100 languages. So this is a great option for making articles accessible to all of your users. So I'm going to go ahead and translate this article into Spanish. Click go, and it'll open up the article in the language that I've selected. So you can see all of the tools and settings are all in the same place. So read aloud, the gear icon, and all of your media is still over on the right-hand side. So you don't lose any of those when you do a translation. Also in the tool and settings menu, you can highlight your search term and adjust the text size. So you can make the text larger just to make it a little bit easier to see and read. You can see it's growing. A couple things that are unique to Discover articles. One of them is that the sections are hidden. So right now I just have the introduction that is showing up, but underneath that you can see the other sections of this article. So I can click to view the kinds of computers, and it'll drop down how computers work and parts of computers. This option is a really nice way to kind of chunk that content out so kids aren't getting overwhelmed with the amount of text that they're seeing on the screen. At the bottom of the articles, you'll also find how to cite the article. So the same 3 citations that you saw from the Tools and Settings menu. Another thing that's unique to Discover articles is the ability to toggle between a simplified article and a detailed article. So a simplified article is going to be at a lower Lexile level, more for an elementary user. The detailed article is going to be an article on the computer at a higher Lexile measure. So this one is going to be more for high school or adult learners with more difficult text. And with that, you can see that these articles are going to be a little bit longer. You can see there's more sections here than there were in the simplified article. So like I was saying before, if you have older users who are coming in and they're struggling with the content in advanced, they can come into Discover and they can get an article at a lower level and still be in a database or a resource that looks like it's built for older users and not so much for elementary users like kids. In encyclopedia articles in Discover, you'll see these 4 tabs at the top. The first one is the article tab, which we're in. The second one is going to be games. So any games that are located in Discover that relate to the article will be linked here, and you can click to play those directly from here. The next tab is the media tab. So this will pull together all of the media from throughout the article. Any pictures, videos, tables, maps, any of that stuff will be available here. And then the last one is more information. This tab will have linked articles from throughout Discover, curriculum standards if you have users looking for curriculum correlations, and then the Lexile measure of the article will be listed here as well. This Lexile measure will change depending on which article view you're in. So right now, I'm looking at the simplified article. So this is going to be the level of the simplified article. If I were to go and look at the detailed article and go back into that more information tab and go to the Lexile measure, you can see the change here. I'm now looking at that higher Lexile measure. So just keep that in mind if you are interested in the level of the articles, that you're clicked into the one that you want to view the level for. All right, so I did mention the My Research feature, which was in that Tools and Settings menu as a save option. This feature can be accessed in the upper left corner under Research Tools. I'm going to go ahead and go to My Research. So this feature does require a personalized login. It's a really easy one-time creation. So if users don't already have one created, they will need to create one in order to use this feature. But then this feature is available in Student, Advanced, and Timelines, as well as in Discover. So they're not just creating it for one resource. They're going to be able to use personalization features throughout all of the Worldbook resources. So here is My Research. I have these different projects that I've created, and within these, I can save content to them. So you can see from the little logos, the different databases that I've saved content from. I can save articles and add any notes that I want to remember about that article. I can save images, back in time articles. And the more types of content I save, the more categories will appear. So for example, if I click into my countries project, you can see that I have a lot more categories here because I have more information saved. One of those is going to be timelines from the timelines resource, which we are going to look at in the second half of today's training. So just keep that in mind that these can appear here. Users can also save outside books and websites. So if users are doing research outside of Worldbook, they can still save that information here. So all of their research is in one easy to find place. I'm going to just go ahead and exit that. Another research tool available here in Discover is How to Do Research. So this feature walks through the 6 steps of the research process. It's color-coded, and there is a pop-out menu over on the left-hand side to help with navigation. This feature includes information for planning research, like questions to help scaffold the research process, information on conducting your research, evaluating your sources, including internet and social media sources, how to organize your information with examples for outlining. There's also information on citations, and then finally presenting your research. The last section of this feature is the glossary. So here you have some definitions of different research terms that users may not be familiar with already. This is just going to help them better access the information that's available in this feature. But this is a great feature to send older users to when they're conducting research on their own, or for you to pull information or send parents to help guide younger students as they research for different projects. Next to the research tools features in the main menu, we have the Life Skills Center. The Life Skills Center is a great resource for adult and high school learners. There is some content for social emotional learning and other high interest topics. So some of these are things that patrons come into the library to use the computer and internet to learn more about, and they can be found here in Discover. And you know, since it's within WorldBook, it's going to be reliable information. So things like stepping into the working world and finding a job or gaining financial know-how. This one has financial terms that users need to know and suggested activities for building a budget. But then we have some that are going to be great for all ages, like your well-being and how to take care of yourself, how to deal with bullies, and more. So each article has a lot of helpful information within it, and they're broken up by sections so you can better access the material in here. The next section in the main menu are the games. So I already showed that these will appear in search results as well as show up on the home page, but they do have their own page here in Discover. At the top here, we have some featured games pulled out. We have today's award highlighted. If users are logged in to that My WorldBook account that they used for my research, they're able to earn some different awards by playing games. So this one will tell you you have to get 100% on 3 different games, but I can click see all awards and I can see the other awards that I've earned and how I've earned them. Underneath today's award, you'll find games broken up into different topics. So we have literature and the arts, math, science, social studies, and sports and games. Some of these are going to be more content heavy, like science and math, and some of them are going to be a little more fun for users. So for example, sports and games. Maybe they want to challenge themselves on Super Bowl history. They can come in here and play this game. Each game is going to be 10 questions long. They're all going to be multiple choice. And when they get to the end, it'll tell them their best score and ask if they want to play again or explore more games. If they are logged in to that personalized account, they can also see which games they've already played. So any with a green check mark means that I've already played them, and I'm going to be able to see what my best score was when I played it. So, you know, kids can kind of compete against themselves to see if they can do better the next time around. The next section is WorldBook Explains, and I kind of already talked about these, but just so you know, you can access the WorldBook Explains landing page from the top. You can see the different questions. There is a topics drop down in the upper right where you can kind of filter the questions that you're looking for. And then there's also an Ask Us a Question button. So users can submit their own questions for us to answer in this feature. The next one that you'll see up at the top is for timelines, and this will take us to the timelines resource, which we are going to look at next. But before we do that, I do want to talk about the educator tools and the profile, which are both located in the upper right corner. So the first one is educator tools. If you have users coming in who are looking for curriculum correlations, like in our other core resources, those can be found here in Discover as well, where you can select the standards that you're looking at, the subject area, and the grade level, and get a table for all of those standards. So this will have material, and you'll be able to view the standards that align with that material. Next to educator tools, that little hamburger menu is going to take you to your profile page. So you can either click My Awards or My Research. And this will take you to your profile page where you can see your My Research projects and the awards that you've earned by playing games. If you're not already logged in to your My Research account, so for example, if I were to log out and click onto My Awards, it'll just have that login screen. So it'll prompt you to log into that account to be able to access those projects and those awards. All right, so that's it here for Discover. Next, we'll go ahead and take a look at timelines. So I can jump to timelines directly from Discover. It's also listed as a feature in Student and Advanced. So if you're in either of those resources, you can go to timelines from there as well. So opening up timelines, it looks like this. There are 3 ways that you can access Worldbook created timelines. So in here, we have over 650 pre-created timelines that you can access. The first way to access those is going to be the featured timeline on the homepage. So sometimes we have a pre-created one, and sometimes we have a suggestion for creating your own. So let's see if I refresh the homepage. Here we go. So this is an example of what it'll look like if it's already a pre-created timeline. You can click on that and it'll open up the timeline for you. The second way to find them is going to be to search in the upper right corner. So here I can search for a timeline and pull it up. And then lastly, you can browse the categories over on the left. So you've got 8 different categories here that you can browse through. So for example, world history, we'll go to ancient history and look at the ancient history or the history of ancient Rome. So just like with the other 2, the pre-created timelines will have events already populated in here. There's a couple different ways that you can navigate through these events. So I'm just using my mouse and scrolling in and out, but you can also use the tools over on the right to zoom in and zoom out. Clicking on any of the events will bring them up larger so you can see the image. And then clicking the next and previous will allow you to go from event to event without having to click out and click back in. The My Worldbook account is used in the Timelines resource. So going to the upper right corner, clicking My Account will allow me to log into this. So I'm going to go ahead and again log into my research account. But this is the same account that you use for My Research in Discover. So I'm now logged in. You can see that I have a little welcome message up there. But this is going to allow me to save and edit some of these timelines to really personalize this and make it my own. So I can click into any of these events and I can edit them. So I can change the dates, I can edit the description, I can also color code them and add any notes in. So I'm going to go ahead and save so you can see what that color coding will look like. You can also add in media. So whether you're searching from throughout the Worldbook database, you can add those in, or you can upload your own images. So if you're creating a timeline and we don't have an image that you like, you are able to upload your own. This gives you a little bit more creativity for what can be added into these. If we don't have an event already in this timeline that you would like added in here, you can search through our event database. So just clicking search events in the upper left, you can search for new events. We have, like I said, over 650 pre-made timelines, and between those we have over 14,000 events that are created. So we might have what you're looking for, and you can really easily add those in here. If we don't have what you're looking for, you can create it yourself. So if you click Create Event in the upper left, it'll give you a blank event that you can then add in a start date to and a description and be able to create that event. Like with the other events, you can also add in color coding, notes, or media, but you are required to have both a start date and an event description in order to create that event. You can also change the title of it. So if you've done a lot of editing, you are able to change the title of the timeline or add in a description so that you know for later what this timeline is now about. To save timelines, you can go to the upper right corner. There's a little save button where you can save it directly to OneDrive. You could save it to the timelines database or directly to a My Research project. So like I showed in Discover, you might find timelines that you'd like to save to these projects. So you can just click that project and you'll get a little pop-out message that says that it's been saved. I'm gonna go back into a timeline just because it closed on me there. So those are your save options. You can also switch the view of timelines. So this will give you a table format of the timeline, which you can then print off using the button in the upper right. You can even hide the media before you print it, so you don't have the little images included in that print off. I'm just going to switch the view back. The other icon up here is a little info button. So if you forget any of the tools or you need help with any of the navigation, this little info panel has some of those helpful tips so that you can make sure you're utilizing all of the tools available here in Timelines. So I'm just going to go back to the home page. If you did save a timeline, it'll appear in the My Timelines tab at the top. So here I can see any pre-created timelines that I've edited and saved, as well as any that I have created on my own. So you are able to create your own timeline by clicking Create a Timeline in the top. This will give you a template for a blank timeline. So you'll need to add a title, and then the rest of these things are optional, whether you're going to add in media, a description, and change your image. Once you've done that, you can create the timeline. So I'm just going to create an example timeline and show you what it looks like. So I have a completely blank timeline here. So you really are starting from scratch to really be able to make it your own. So of course you could create a timeline on a different historical topic or event. You could use it to create a biography timeline for somebody that you're learning about. But you can also use it for other things. You could use it for a character study if you're following a character throughout a book. You could also use it as a reading log. So you could have users create events for each reading or each date that they're reading. So they can add in the date that they are reading, what they've read, how many pages they've read. They could add notes about what they thought about reading, and they can color code it. Maybe just to keep track of which book is which, they could assign each book a different color. And then they can go ahead and create that event and it'll show up in here. So there's lots of different ideas. We feature some different ideas on the home page here. You saw when I first clicked in here, there was one about your birthday. But on the timeline, or excuse me, on the training guide, we have lots of other ideas as well. So to get to the training guide, I can go to Training and Support from the bottom toolbar. And I'm going to click Help for Timelines, and this will take me to the Timelines product page. Here I can find how-to articles, tutorial videos, as well as resources that can be printed off to help use with timelines. So I've got some starter kits, but then I also have some timely topic documents which have suggestions or ideas for different ways that patrons can use timelines. So these can all be downloaded and printed off. Just like with Timelines and Discover, I can click the Training and Support logo to get back to the home page. I'm scrolling down. You can find the Discover product page with similar information like the how-to articles, tutorial videos, and printable resources. So that is all that I have to share with you today. Are there any questions that I can answer while I'm here? All right. I don't see any questions. If you do have questions later on, you can always email me. My email is training@worldbook.com, or you can visit our training and support guide, and you might be able to find the information you're looking for on there as well. Awesome. You are welcome. Thank you for having me. Hopefully you saw something new and that you're excited to check out. So thanks again. And Marina, I will share the recording when we log off.